The idea basically is to try to help develop a culture for investigative reporting.
So the idea was to get newspaper editors to free their reporters to work on a story for a month or 6 weeks or maybe 3 months at the longest.
Post-86, there were many of us reporters who covered the EDSA People Power Revolt, and then all too suddenly, the new freedom allowed everyone to write as they please.
It became very frustrating for them to write stories na puro he said, she said.
PCIJ, I think, was partly a reaction to the kind of journalism that was being practiced then.
That idea came when Bobby Tiglao came from his Nieman year in Harvard.
Bobby Tiglao had just come back from Harvard, and his final writing project as a fellow was a paper on a proposed Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism.
And it was such a brilliant idea, and the co-founders then were so enthusiastic about it that I guess others couldn't help but be amazed and impressed.
The office at the time of the PCIJ was just a one-table, one-typewriter affair. And we were squatters in the office of the Interpress Service.
In the beginning there was one room. And then it just grew from there.
And so the funders believed that we were serious maybe because we started producing even with 2 people on board. So we thought that the environment was a good initial backdrop to trying out this kind of reporting because the environment fused both political and economic criteria, meaning for a good investigative reports, meaning the elements of power, money, political connections, the elements of regulators failing their job or missing on the duty that they have to perform, government actually captured by vested interests. So, and of course, a lot of great imagery, a lot of community content. So we focus on the environment in the initial years and public health stories. The most memorable stories of the PCIJ to people at large would be the political stories that had real results in terms of, for example, President Estrada being impeached, facing a trial for plunder later on, with the PCIJ stories and databases actually included as among the sources of the information filed against Estrada and his son and his associates. There were other stories also that resulted in or that triggered the resignation of a Supreme Court justice. We were investigated for those stories. These were stories on the administration of justice and the corruption in the Philippine Supreme Court. There were stories that led to the resignation or firing or replacement of cabinet members.
The PCIJ has also done a lot of training.
The training programs of the PCIJ, the training desk, has become a very important cornerstone of the PCIJ's work. But it derives a lot of sustenance actually from the investigative reporting that PCIJ does. I think the beauty of training is to accept all at once that you can never say that you're done with studying journalism. Next, we look at the possibility that maybe we can do projects for broadcast media. So we opened up a broadcast desk. I think it's been the fortune of the PCIJ that it's never really stopped studying, not just stories, but actually technology. The PCIJ has been one of the first to really get online with its PCIJ.org website. So in the beginning, when the internet was still rocket science to many of us, the PCIJ was already there trying to experiment with the new technology and the new platform.
Journalism and the technologies that make journalism possible will change, but I think the fundamentals of journalism will not. I think there's still going to be a great deal of value placed on good thinking, good writing, integrity, the sense of fairness, the kind of editorial standards that we were trained to uphold.
Now, at the stage that PCIJ is turning 20 years old, I think PCIJ is more keen about really not just serving the community of journalists from television, radio, and print, but also engaging citizen journalists, because we think that as an independent and non-profit media organization, we have no baggages. We can embrace the big guys from mainstream media. We can embrace the guys who are really up and coming as important writers and communicators on the web.
One particular effect that the PCIJ has had on the profession is that it has spawned other organizations, and it has spawned television programs.
The PCIJ's reputation has spread far and wide, and people were talking about PCIJ to me long before I even knew what PCIJ was.
I think it's become a matter of pride for a reporter to be called an investigative journalist. I think that the award given to Sheila Coronel by the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation a few years ago is proof that of the stature, the recognition that has been given to the importance of investigative reportage.
I'm honored to be part of PCIJ, to be working with PCIJ, because PCIJ has a great reputation, not just in Asia, but abroad among investigative reporters. It's considered a small but mighty organization that can move mountains.
Well, the impact has been that I think most, if not all, journalists have a sense of what investigative is. Even if they don't practice it, there's a consciousness that there is this brand of journalism, and it's possible to aspire for it.
It's wrong to make distinctions that the investigative reporter is this cloak and dagger type journalist with a string of death threats. When we encourage reporters to do investigative reporting, we're actually encouraging them to do the things that they're supposed to do with more passion, with more discipline, with more patience, with more attention. And I think what we've tried to encourage reporters to do is really go back to basics. The same rules apply. I think the secret to the PCIJ's success really is the power of fellowship. People coming together. It's not just mainly the staff of the PCIJ, although it should be credited to them that they stayed with the idea and stayed with the project and believed in it, even if the pay is not as much as in mainstream. But the idea that, apart from the staff, we could tap into a bigger network of journalists out there who are willing to do the work with us, who are interested in becoming fellows in the PCIJ, for writing fellowships or for training fellowships.